What's up, everybody? Welcome back inside the film room. Today, we got a running back. It's been a while since I've done an inside the film room on a running back. We're going to do Washington's Jonah Coleman. Coleman came into the season with like top 5 RB hype, kind of faded off as he played through injury here, and that's going to make this eval a little bit tricky as well as trying to identify those games where he was healthy compared to not, which is what we're going to do here. We're going to watch 2 midseason games. We're going to watch the game against Michigan. We're going to watch the game against Illinois here for Jonah Coleman. I don't love this running back class. Outside of Jeremiah Love, I have not found a running back that I was like, yeah, I'd take that guy on day 2. 100% would take that guy on day 2. Will guys go on day 2? Yeah. Outside of that, though, like I don't have conviction enough to take any of these guys day 2. Hoping Jonah Coleman solves that for me a little bit here. Hoping I can have some conviction here for Jonah Coleman. Again, he is 5'8", 220 pounds, so a thick boy. If you remember the pictures from over the summer, he transformed his body quite a bit. This season ran for 758 yards, 15 touchdowns, caught 31 passes out of the backfield for 354 and 2. During an injury-riddled season, that's still a pretty good number. So, let's watch Jonah Coleman. We don't need testing data on him either. He didn't test at the Combine. We'll see if he does at his pro day. Let's see what we think here. Let's dive in. All right, so let's do this thing. Again, Jonah Coleman, running back number 1. First off, again, body typing these guys. I start off every report like this. I have a very strong bias towards running backs with dense lower halves. Jonah Coleman passes the eye test here. Big calves, big quads, big ass. It's a good place to start. Clip that if you want to. Post it on Twitter. It's good. Sure. He passes the eye test here. I am not a huge fan of the running backs with really long, skinny legs, who are like more explosive backs but can't really work through contact. So I do have a type when it comes to running back, and Jonah Coleman passes the eye test here. All right. So RPO here, you can make the argument that DeMond might have made the wrong choice here to not throw the slide coming out here. Anyway, when we're faced here, defender in the hole, nowhere to go. So what you want to see a running back do in this case, can we drop the pad level? Can we fall forward? We can turn out an extra couple of yards. Yes, you can. Initiates contact, or that foot is here. He drives out an extra 2 yards right there at the end of the run. Again, only a 2-yard run. Not great up front. So we got motion out of the backfield here. Just a little curl flat. Nothing there for our guy Jonah. Pass pro rep. Kind of soft chip. It's all right. Again, he did catch 31 passes out of the backfield this year, so there's a little bit to work with here. All right, Huddle, don't do this to me today. Thank you. Oh, come on, dog. All right, so again, we're looking at that back heel of the guard here. So, like, we're kind of looking through here. If it's there, Jonah's got his eyes working. That not there. You can see helmet to this side of the blocker, which means this gap is occupied. So he is going to try to bounce it and cut through here. See if 66 can climb here. If so, we might have a pretty decent run right here. We do. All right, I like the vision so far. All right, so for Coleman here, I do think we had the opportunity for another little baby cut, maybe through here. You can see the eyes kind of drop once he got through that initial wave, through the initial move here. I like when those running backs keep their eyes active through the second wave as well and into the third wave. So do you have the vision to find the initial hole? Once you're through that initial gap, do your eyes drop like Coleman's do here? Do you stay up and do you see if you can find another creative cut? And then once you're through the third level, and we have gaping spaces of green space, can you be creative enough to find a way to get in there and make defenders miss? Kind of what I'm looking for in terms of vision, creativity with the football in your hands. In this case, gets to the first wave, eyes drop. Instead of like maybe finding a small cut here, again, this defender's kind of crossing face here, so there might not be anything there. But he is looking to lower shoulder at the end of every run, and I do appreciate that. want to see some pass pro too. We haven't gotten a pass pro rep yet. Tight end screen, nothing there for us for Coleman. Okay. Muddy waters. We got ourselves some power. All right, we're muddy. We're stacked up here. We got a guy in the, yeah, this is dead in the water. So, can he make himself small? Find something? Again, where does that contact come? Where does the ball snap from? So, the ball is snapped that yard line right there. Just a mental note for myself. So, he's at the line of scrimmage right now. And there's a defender who's got his helmet on the right side of the gap here to make this stop. Coleman turns out 3 yards still. I mean, when you can turn out 3 yards with muddy looks like that, you take that. You take that. Take a moment here because I've already got enough to jot down a note in the contact balance section of his thing. Coleman will relentlessly and consistently fight for extra yards at the end of runs with a low center of gravity. He is not afraid to drop his pads and initiate contact. All right. We got a little bit like a cut rep here. Still not enough to see there. I don't know what's going on the back end of this play. Not great pass pro technique right here. If you can see, you gotta kind of look hard, but the like backboard eyes down. I know it's a cut, but still, it's not great. All right, we got another chip coming out here. Accuracy on these chips could be a little better. Squeeze a little tighter the outside hip of his tackle. Does get a shot in. Again, could get a better shot in, I think. Boot. Nothing here for our guy. All right. So he makes the decision to stick a foot in the ground here and cut up pretty quick. I'm not quite sure I love that decision with, again, defender's helmet on the wrong side of this gap. I guess the right side of this gap if you're the defender. Again, not a cutback here because you got 1, 2 here. But I think if you keep pressing a little bit this way, you might be able to find something up through here if you can outrun 44. If you stick your foot in the ground and work a little bit this way and up through here, can you do enough? Because you got numbers here. Like, he's not covered. That wouldn't work. There's nowhere to really step out here. He'd be stepping on the heels back here, this guy. Nowhere to bounce either, because this guy, again, on the right side of his gap here. Dead in the water. But again, look at Coleman's ability to make himself small at the end of these runs. He's kind of got that hip out in front and kind of a knifing look. Drops the pad level. I mean, we're falling forward for 2 or 3 extra yards right there, man. Consistently. Is he on the field here? He's down at the bottom of the screen. Just a man zone indicator. Again, out of the backfield, the case with most backs, right? Unless you want to talk about like 2023, where both Bijan and Jahmyr Gibbs were absolute weapons in the passing game as well. These running backs these days aren't really being isolated out in the slot, aren't trying to get touches in space for the most part. I haven't found one this year. So in that case, I'm just looking how soft are their hands when they get targeted, how consistent are their hands when they do get targeted. And again, 31 catches this past season for Jonah Coleman. So I'll pull up his like PFF data just to chart, like see what they charted for drops, things like that. All right, so here we get a target on a check down. I don't love the catch technique super much. Like he's dropping his hands a little bit. You can see kind of clap catching it. But again, if it works for him, it works for him. We'll check the drop data. Actually, let me pull it up right now while I am thinking about it. to see how consistent his hands are. Jonah Coleman. Jonah Coleman, receiving, was charted with 0 drops on 34 targets. Caught 31 of 34 targets. Now, the average depth of target was behind the line of scrimmage, so again, not doing anything other than being a check down, right? But when he is targeted as a check down, he's presenting a stable target for his quarterback. So that is important. That is important. All right. Haven't really seen anything explosive yet from Coleman. Again, this guy's probably a high 4.5 40 guy, maybe low, even low 4.6. All right, we got a little slip screen here, so manufactured touch. Again, corner and backside pursuit hawks him down to the point where he's got to get lateral pretty quick here instead of vertical up and down the field. But I like the initial burst. So there's 2 ways to look at explosiveness. Well, really 3 ways that I look at explosiveness. We'll talk about it. So 1, going from the acceleration, right? So like no acceleration built up. So a little bit here, but really none. How quickly can he get from 0 to 100, stick that foot in the ground and get going? Here, I think it's pretty good. Now, the top speed of Jonah Coleman, isn't exceptional, right? So getting from 0 to 100 shouldn't take a guy without elite explosiveness a long time. You'll find those guys with elite explosiveness who can just like instant accelerators, get moving, gone. I would say the initial burst from Jonah Coleman is good here. The long speed is number 2 of looking at explosiveness. That, not so much. I mean, you can see 20's outstriding him by a couple miles per hour if I had tracking data in front of me of what I would estimate here. Number 3 would be like when you have to bounce as a running back, can you beat defenders to the edge? That's the 3rd area of explosiveness I kind of look at. But initial burst, I think Jonah Coleman's got it. And that's really the most important trait for running back, because a lot of times you just want, when we got something, can we get 5 yards if 5 yards is there, right? How many times is Jonah Coleman going to get into the open field and explode? Let's get him back on the field. Here he is. All right, let's check the eyes. Again, 17's on the right side here, so there's nowhere to bounce here. He's kind of got to try to squeeze through here. He's got a lead blocker coming through a little bit. We'll see what happens. That's what he does. Okay. Yeah. Makes himself small. Fits himself through there. Always falling forward. I'm going to, in that same section here, contact balance. Coleman has a knack for making himself small through muddy trenches to find gaps to squeeze through. All right. Haven't seen any body of work in pass pro, really. Still waiting for that. All right, RPO there, nothing to go off of. All right, we get another little swing pass. Again, look, watch, this is what I'm talking about, the instant acceleration. You can see the moment that Coleman fires off, he catches the football, that back foot right here. He's going to explode off this foot right now and get moving. Again, the top speed, not great, but he gets that top speed real fast. And again, hard to bring down. All right, this is another thing I look for. When we're looking at footwork, change of direction, right? How fast does his feet move with his frame? And there's a couple things that I look at here. 1, short area quickness. This is a great example of short area quickness. In a phone booth, how quick can you make these cuts? How fast are your feet? That's pretty darn good. He makes 2 cuts, 1, 2, right there, and gets moving.